Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Jesse.
I don't think I'm awake. There, that countdown music is almost hypnotic because I was like watching it, and then my eyes drifted to my second screen, and I saw a picture over there, and I just started thinking. I totally spaced out until I heard the countdown, and then I saw we were up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I did it. It's just. It's like a lullaby, just lulling me off. So anyway, welcome everyone to Shooting the Shelf here on the Just Shelve It channel. I'm Jesse Arnold, and with me, as always, is the wonderful, tolerant co-host that he is, Curtis Ackerman. How are you doing tonight, Curtis?
I'm doing excellent. How are you, Jesse?
Good. I'm doing all right. I hate outside right now, but I could live somewhere worse. So
that's true.
Like the South. And I mean worse temperature, not. Anyway, I'm going to stop before I put more of my foot in my mouth.
Here, let me start another countdown.
Please don't. I'll disappear this time. Okay. I swear I'll get myself together at least enough to be on par with my normal presentation on Sunday nights. Thank you all for being here. Seems like we got a couple of folks out here in the chat. Dave Orkin, Jacob Forna, Star, Joe, figuratively speaking, JG, and I'm sure there's a couple other people out there. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you're watching this on the replay or catching it at a later time, thank you very much for being here. We do appreciate that. Let's just get into the warm digital welcome for our special guest this week, coming to us all the way from Wales, the one and only Hondax Gwion Tomos. Welcome to the shelf, Gwion.
Morning, guys. How are you?
Excellent.
Doing all right.
Good.
So I hope you weren't too intimidated by our professionalism there, getting everything
very much so. Very much so. Especially Jesse insulting half of the states there.
Good stuff.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we appreciate you staying up late for this too.
Yeah.
So up early. I'll just put it that way. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's just after 2 a.m. for you. You said, right?
Yeah.
So
I'll see how it goes. My breathe it's out to not sleep. We'll see.
Okay. Oh, excellent. Well, here at the top of the show, we like to do our shelf selections where we picked some cool shots from the interwebs this week. All right, go ahead and kick us off, Curtis.
All right. I've got this first one. This is Vonnie Rotten. And just a really cool shot. Like, looks like got some. I think that it's got some Mythic Legion parts mixed in here, and then some other soft goods and stuff. I really don't know what all went into this shot. I just think it looks cool. So, yeah, I just thought it would kind of look badass, so I picked it out.
Excuse me. Yeah, it's definitely cool. I love the whole like scarf blowing in the wind behind the skeletal cowboy, and yeah, just again, like we always say, a good picture tells a story, and I'm getting a whole scene here.
Oh yeah, this is total gunfight getting ready to go down. So
really nice. Very atmospheric.
Yep. Next one is Jesse's.
So this is from Warrior Evans on Instagram. I love this shot. It does have some behind the scenes with it, so definitely go check it out. But there is a sheet of either glass or plexiglass that the last Ronin turtle there is just like laying on over the foot soldiers, and just the way the angle was and the way he cropped it and shot it, that you lose all sense of that piece of glass there between them. So it's not. There's no digital removal of a stand or wires or anything. It's just
That's really cool. I like that.
Yeah.
With it being a glass, you can't half expecting it just to be splayed out, but the nice posing there is fantastic.
Yeah. I think he had an alternate version where it's got he's got the black bandana on instead of the red, because I think that red one is from the new Eastman and Laird pack that came out a couple weeks ago. But yeah, pretty sweet.
The one with the 4 Raphaels.
Yes.
All right. I had to put this one in here. This is Trevor Williams, 1.6 shooter, and just amazing. Like I don't know what else to say about this. Like it looks like it's a movie poster or something. Like it does not look like toys. This looks like, I don't know, some big production film where they spent, hundreds of millions of dollars putting it together, this sci-fi film, and just love the way this came out. Trevor's killing it as always. Hopefully he's not in the chat. If he is, I'll have to find a way to knock his ego down a little bit later. So
it's made me want to get Cosmics, and I have none on pre-order right now.
Oh wow.
This one's really kind of pushed me over. I have to admit, I'll have to try and make some space somewhere.
I definitely, these are the four. I mean, other than the Sphexians, these are the four I definitely want from this wave. So this did not dissuade me at all. It just made me want them even more. So yeah, can't wait to get my hands on these.
Yeah, they look badass. And this one's Jesse's.
All right. This one is from McKechnie? James. I don't know how to pronounce that one.
James McKechnie. Sure.
From the Cabal. I saw this, 4th of July. I just thought it was a fun take on the old crossing of the Delaware with all the mishmash of figures in the boat and everything, and poor merman getting dragged along. So I just thought it was fun. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's remembering us beating the crap out of the Brits. So that's nothing. Okay.
Curtis, tagline, never afraid to go there.
I was just trying to see if I could poke you a little. This one is mine. This is posable art. And just a really cool shot with some Dark Templars in here. I like how he has kind of the eyes lit up there, and like the smoke rolling in, like they've been burning down a village or something. Like the lighting that's coming from the front left of the photo. Just a really cool shot. So I wanted to include this one in here.
Yeah, this is really cool. It's almost if the sequence from the beginning of Gladiator, had a supernatural element, and these guys came in behind the Germans in that sequence. It totally fits in there.
And I think on here it had something, I can't remember exactly what it said, but it was basically like they were following orders from Sir Gerard and stuff. So it was like kind of setting the scene, and I just like the way that came out.
Very nice.
And Jesse.
Okay, this is Connexus on Instagram. You definitely need to check this thread of pictures out. I only grabbed one, but there's a couple shots across the page there that they had where the angle, this was the best to grab for a single image, but it looks like they're scaling this like really narrow like ascent up this like canyon, really steep incline, and there's like shots where one of them's like reaching back to like grab another one that looks like they're slipping down and everything, and it just feels the way he's got the soft goods pose and everything, it just feels very natural, like stills from a movie. So just definitely check out this whole sequence that they have over there.
Yeah, this is really cool, and I thought it was interesting that you sent me this pic, because I actually have another picture from this same Instagram account. Yeah, so I included that one after this, and this one I'm gonna click on here might be one of the coolest things I've ever seen. So he has a little video sequence that he does with this. And this is like a Pepsi, like 1 liter bottle, or maybe I don't think it's 20 ounce. I think it's like a 1 liter bottle that he cut the top off, cut the end off. He's got Ryu's hands in it, and then like this blue light up above that makes it look like it's an effect that he's shooting out of his hands. And it's just like so simple, yet just amazing. Like it totally looks like something that was photoshopped in after the fact, but it's just a Pepsi bottle. So
That's great.
Yeah, so check out that account. Like Jesse was saying, see the series of this one, which is really cool. See how he kind of utilized that, because it actually goes through a video of cutting it up and stuff and doing it. But yeah, it's just some really neat stuff there. So check out that Instagram account.
Awesome.
And then we're back to you, because I doubled up on yours. So
okay, well, you don't see a lot of underwater shots, and I'm pretty sure that this is legit underwater because of the reflection into the surface of the shark. This is one of the McFarlane. I don't remember what the line's called, but they'd have like the snake and the gorilla and the raptor and this shark. It just I don't have a huge attachment to the toy. I just thought it was a really cool shot in there with maybe it was. I don't know. I don't know if I mean, that's a lot of fish for a fish tank. So I don't know. Whatever it is, it really caught my attention. R2C2 photography over on Instagram. I just thought it was really cool.
Yeah, this would be a cool one to see the behind the scenes on how this was put together, because I have no idea how they got this shot. Like, even if you did use a digital background, like an LCD background, like the way that they got the shark propped up in there and the reflection on the top, like it really looks like they took the photo underwater. But like you said, how would you get it with all these fish and stuff? I don't know. So I would love to see a behind the scenes on this shot, but it's really cool for sure.
A lot of character for something that lacks articulation. So
what's that?
There's a lot of character for something that lacks articulation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would not want to be these little fish with that thing floating around. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And then I put this one in here. This is, I am going to totally butcher this. JP Davis NC 1977. And they had, this is like a Templar like setup that they're doing. So this was like the third in the series. This one here, the on the left, and then on the right you see like the three that he's done so far. So it's like the inside of the castle, the where the Templar Knights are and stuff.
Okay.
So he's kind of building this thing out, and I just thought this was really cool. And I believe that each one of these sections is set up DTOF size.
Okay.
So yeah, I thought it was really cool. Check out the Instagram account. Neat stuff. I don't know if they're selling any of these or if this is just for their personal collection, but I would definitely be all over something like this.
Yeah, it's really cool. I like the symmetry between the first and the third one with like the arch, and then the second one's got more of the like the recessed window situation going on. Yeah, that's really cool. Can't wait to see it painted up.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jesse.
Jade Demon Studios. I saw this, and I know Curtis has recently gotten a real hankering for clones. So the clones jumped out after I saw the cuts on the dio. I just thought that was really cool before I even realized the clones were there. And part of me wants to see this like in mythic or cosmic scale with characters running out of that cavern or cave mouth or whatever.
Yeah, I just love how when you can, make these foam dios and then make them look like something that came out of nature is really cool. And I don't know. Whenever I look at something like this, I try to figure out like what pieces were done separately and put together and what pieces were just carved in one piece. So, and I can't tell with this one. Like I'm assuming that the part that's going over the top there was done separately and attached to the top, but like the two towers and the rest of it, like were those just solid pieces each, or I don't know, but it looks really cool. Yeah, I think they did a great job on this. Yeah,
very good. And I love the moss and the greenery on it.
Yep. And then I snuck in a couple extra ones here on Jesse without him knowing. So I got this one from this just Shelve guy. He was like really busy this past week doing some painting, and I love how these came out. These two in particular, I think have a lot of character to them. I love the one with the gritted teeth. Those teeth look like perfect. Like, I don't know what his dental plan is, but man, that dude is flossing. He's using a water pick. Like this guy, yeah, he's got it together. So
He's showing those chompers off.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I was making these to be Snurf Neblin gnomes, deep gnomes, because I knew you were taking an interest in the Duragar. And I was like, all right, well, I got these heads from Mark Rivera. He sculpted them, and they're available at Legion Shop. But I was like, I don't want to just paint, because I have a couple other gnome heads as well, and I'm like, I don't want to paint them all like the same. So I was like, let's make some deep gnomes, because I've been listening to the Drist books, and he's got a Snurf Neblin companion for a while, and I just kind of wanted to play around with those colors.
No, that's a cool idea. Like I've been, painting up heads for Legions Con, and like sometimes, what we're doing is I've got a rack full of heads that I want to bring, and so each time I finish one, my wife goes and puts it away and grabs me a new one at random. So I don't know what she's going to hand me, but then she'll hand me a head, and sometimes I'll go like kind of what you're saying. Like, I don't want to do this just like a normal whatever. Like, I want to make it different. I want to make it unique. And then I got to kind of rack my brain for how I can do that. So I like that you were kind of thinking along those lines with this. So
thank you. Yeah, because I'm painting these up for Legion's Con as well. So I was trying to think, like, what can I do to make it stand out? The one with the helmet hat thing, but like wouldn't look weird on a dwarf body or a goblin body, just because it's got a little bit of extra color that it might not have. So
yeah. Yeah, I mean, you had some other ones in there that were great, but these were the two that really stuck out for me. So, and then I saw this other thing somebody posted this week. I thought this was really cool. I'm not sure the artist, some art by Ackerman, but I thought this looked really cool. But in all seriousness, obviously I painted this up, but what I really wanted to show off on this is I've seen people talking about Cosmic Legions, and there's a lot of Thygar gets a lot of love, and Vorga and Ziri get a lot of love. But I'm telling you, these Legion builders, not just the Sentry, but even the Science Officer and the Engineer a little bit too, not as much. But there's so many sculpted details in these things that I painted this up one way, but you could literally paint. There's so many details on this. You could paint this up thousands of different ways and come up with thousands of different looks. So, even if you're not into Cosmic Legions, if it's not your thing, if you're a customizer, I would advise you to pick up at least one of these things and just admire the details in it. Put some paint to it. Create your own little Sentry. It's very enjoyable. So.
I mean, you painted green on it, so I love it. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to start. I was kind of doing like basically like the ranks of the clone troopers. So I started with a sergeant, and then I was going to kind of work my way up, do a lieutenant, and captain, and commander. So started with the green, and that is it for shelf selections. So the last two aren't really selections. You don't need to tag me and you in Instagram, but I wanted to throw that out there because, sometimes you and I, we do some stuff too. So
that we do.
Yeah.
Those were fantastic examples. So yeah, definitely worth a highlight.
Thank you.
Well, you got Commander Green,
nice.
Your green paint.
Nice. Speaking of shelf selections, though, I've had you on there a couple times, Gwion. I've had a few of your things on there, and I'm are you here's the question of the night. This is what I really want to know. Are you coming to Legion's Con, and is there any of your stuff going to be for sale?
I am not attending, unfortunately, but Richard Jones has kindly offered to bring some of my customs if I have some ready for that time. But I definitely will have something ready for you, so we can definitely sort something out.
Beautiful. That's what I wanted to hear. Yeah, because you've just been killing it lately. I mean, your stuff's been just so good. I know Jesse, you said you had his Instagram up, right?
Yep.
Is that something we could take a look at? Just because
You want to jump into that now? Yeah.
I'm so excited to look at his stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Like this stuff's just been killer. Like any of these right here, like the flaming beards and the like, just like how do you go about blending that stuff? Are you wet blending? Are you using an airbrush? Like what's your secret here?
It's all dry brushing, so a
Oh,
lot of
really?
patience and dry brushing. Yeah, so I've learned a lot. These are custom pieces. These are commissions. So I've learned a lot by doing these. Really, like I've been doing some of these kind of the fire beards for a while, but
Mm-hmm.
I do honestly feel that these are some of my best jobs. Really, that's some of my best work. So thankfully, these are the commission ones as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of dry brushing, patience, and trial and error. Really.
Nice. So as far as the blending, like are you putting down like a solid color first and
Yeah.
then dry brushing the other color over top of it, or how does that work?
So normally with this guy here, there's the red base first, and then I'll build a orange and then a yellow, and then I'll kind of go back and forth to try and kind of get that blend in there. Really, you don't want to dominate it too much, but I normally finish with the yellow, and then with the horned guy, he had a solid black base, so I went a bit different with that one, not to go for the full fire beard look. But yeah, that was a orange base with just a lot of yellow, and then back and forth, back and forth.
That's awesome. Yeah, I never would have guessed that was dry brushing because like it looks blended so well that I figured it had to be either an airbrush or some wet blending. So if that's dry brushing, then that's freaking amazing dry brushing because it is blended so terribly well. So
Yeah.
I do see Kevin in here, which I'm surprised Kevin hasn't rage quit yet because we're talking so much about dry brushing. But he did ask, are those dark iron dwarves or Duragar?
So yeah, the Dark Iron Dwarf inspired 100%. I've kind of been slowly trying to kind of call them my own thing, essentially forges, but that's not really gathered any steam. But yeah, definitely inspired by Dark Iron Dwarves. 100%.
Cool.
Okay.
So I know that you've played World of Warcraft before in the past.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I just really clicked with the Dark Irons, really.
That one's cool too. I like the one with the big fist, the big like no, I think it's you have to scroll down, I think.
Oh no, I know
one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
That guy. Yeah, that guy is killer.
That head is an absolute joy to paint. I love that head so much. So much character there. That it just pops straight away.
Yeah, I love the head. I love the horns, and then like this looks great, but then you throw those big old beefy hands on him, and it's like, oh my goodness. Yeah.
Now, do those peg into the wrist, or are they the whole forearm? I haven't seen those in person yet.
Yeah, so you just slip the hand on, and they're just gripping there. Yeah, I think Anthony House Seals made his own version.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So where are those hands from?
The individual that commissioned the job, I think he bought them off eBay. I think.
Okay.
Yes, from a Chinese seller. So,
gotcha.
Yeah,
I thought they were maybe fodder from another toy line or something.
I wish if they were, I'd have bought thousands of them and just got the monopoly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is cool too. So how long have you been customizing?
Probably about 2 years now, I'd say. On and off. I started, then I had a massive gap for some reason. I can't really remember why. And then I came back, and I gathered steam there. Really, the confidence blew up, and I just kept going with it. And yeah, I kind of clicked with it. Then I kind of found my pace and found what I was relatively good at. But yeah, I'm trying to stretch out. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Every time I look at this one, I have to remind myself that that's a factory head with adapters on it, because the way you've painted it, I don't see the helmet that it, like, in a good way. Like it's got so much different color and texture to it from the way it comes in the builder. I don't recognize it as the builder head right away.
That was a piece actually kind of I thankfully or kindly got the adapters for the plugs from Anthony Houseel, and then I had the pieces, the shoulder pads, the pauldron, sorry, and the loin piece just on my shelf and not really knowing what to make, and that part just kind of created itself really. And yeah, it's one of my favorites.
That's awesome.
That's great.
I mean, these are really like they hit my aesthetic, like what I like to see, because I like a lot of like the clean lines and bright colors and the crispness. I know there's folks out there to do a lot of, like rusted out stuff and dirty realism and stuff like that. I like this very clean look that you create here. Is that like by design or just kind of the ones that we've looked at so far has kind of been that way?
I think by design, really, I kind of have this idea of that this individual that I'm creating takes a bit of pride maybe in their armor. They try and kind of keep it as clean as possible. That's the character I'm building in my head, essentially.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So this is an example of that as well. That kind of just came together, really. And then the body was made before the head. So, yeah.
I just got this head from you recently, and I can't wait to paint it up. I haven't quite figured out who she's going to be. But when I saw this on your page, I was like, I got to get one of those heads. And the way you did like the fade on the side where the hair's been like shaved down just looks really good.
Yeah. So I can't take credit for the head, that one, really. I had a friend of mine, JCM, Jack Mitchell, paid that one. So he's done an absolutely incredible job. I didn't feel that I could really give that head justice initially. So I sent it over to Jack, and he knocked it straight out the park. So this, again, has a bit of a World of Warcraft feel to it, the Wild Hammer Dwarves with the green stripe on the chin. But yeah, the name Llechi means slate in Welsh. So I kind of, that's,
nice.
Feel to it, dwarves.
Awesome.
And stuff. So that was the idea.
Yeah, I could see this looking really good on the 1.0 with the female chest plates that like Chris Ferrone does. I think that would look good with that as well.
100%. I need to get some of those chest adapters as well. Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm debating if I'm going to put her on a 1.0 with the plate or this. That's one of the decisions I have to make.
I just it says Curtis hates dwarves, but July has been pretty dwarf. I do not hate dwarves. I just really absolutely love giving the dwarf guys shit. So
I mean, at the end of the show, he's going to go through his collection and take all the dwarves and throw them in the trash can with the skeletons and whatever else he's getting rid of. So
I absolutely, I love the dwarves. Like, I don't talk about it as much as some of the dwarf guys, but like this right here is so amazing. I love this. When I saw that head from Len, I didn't know how I would paint it up. And then when I saw yours, I was like, that's it right there. Like, that's so cool.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
The inspiration came from an artist on Instagram, a French artist. They kind of, I think it was a dwarf or it was just a knight. And after I finished it, before posting, I sent them over just asking if they were happy for me to do so, seeing as it was inspired by them. And they absolutely loved it as well. But yeah, as you said, Curtis, when Len announced that head, game changer for me.
I love how on the first picture, how the mask down ties in with the shield. Like it just, it's so perfect.
Like the overall colors make me think of like some of the old Lego knights before they got like the horses that were figures where you like built them out of bricks, and they had like the really bright, solid colors and different. But a much cooler version of those. But I love when you flip the visor up and he's got this like drunken rosy nose. It's like, is he one of those ones that is, he's got it together when he's drunk, or he's like stumbling around the battlefield like
He's got it together. I think that's the idea that I
Okay.
have in my head. He plays hard and he enjoys himself as well. So
Yeah, I
Nice.
mean, he looks like a jolly individual that you don't want to meet on the battlefield, though. Like, like it's all fun and games until the battle starts, and then stay out of his way. But I also love how he's, instead of holding a sword, he's holding that big mace, like that he just bludgeons people with. Like that's cool.
it's a really nice piece, that one as well. I thought that was what brought it all together, really.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, and just the beard like hanging out at the bottom of the visor. It's just great stuff. There you go.
There we go. Yeah.
Very cool.
And did you draw that?
No, that was the artist on Instagram. I think a French artist. I can't remember the
Gotcha.
name off the top of my head. But yeah, fantastic.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I love, you'll be able to replace that weapon with that new hammer in
I
the
will.
Yeah.
set down the road.
Yeah, 100%.
Very cool. So you said you've been
Wait a minute. Go up one row. Go to the one on the far left there. Yeah, that's cool.
So that was my second attempt at painting flesh tones on a dwarf. So I keep coming back to it, thinking and seeing where I can improve, really. But yeah, quite happy.
That's so good. I love that.
Came out really good.
Yeah.
I love the brown on the armor that gives it kind of like almost a leather, stretched over the metal look.
Yeah.
That was inspired. I think it was David Williams that he made a dwarf using I can't remember which head, but he did that kind of leathery look with the metal gauntlets and stuff, and that really just popped out for me straight away. I had to try and replicate that as best as possible, really.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like that.
I keep forgetting that if you do the paint the right way, you can make the metal parts look like leather or other textures. Because I don't want to have all my army in plate mail and big, full metal armor. And I'm like, some of these guys have to be in like leather. And this is a nice reminder that.
Well, I love that you did only part of the arm too. Like, the bottom part is all metal, and it's not even like at where the joint would be. Like it's above where the joint is.
Yeah.
So it's like the leather comes down to a certain point, and then you've got chainmail, and then you've got the actual metal bits. So yeah, that's really cool design.
Oh, thank you. And that was my first example of painting flesh tones. So
that's your first one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Jessica goes, yeah, okay.
No, I'm just saying, like, I mean, that's nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, that's a pretty good
incredible.
first attempt. Yeah.
I think I was actually talking to you guys at the time in one of the rooms in, what was it? The Wolf King room.
Oh, the studio.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was
cool.
painting that guy at the time, kind of holding him upside down, trying to paint the eyes and stuff. That's how I weirdly paint eyes. So
yeah.
I flip heads all the way around while I'm painting. Just depends on which angle I can get that little brush in there.
Yeah.
And with the light catches it perfectly, so you can. Yeah.
Yep. Man, that's great.
Yeah, I like that.
All
so
right.
These guys here, the gray ones, that's my jam, man. Those things are so good.
So this was kindly bought for me by my fiance Meg. So that's proudly on the shelf just over my left shoulder here somewhere. But that's being a dwarf guy. That's top tier.
Cool. But how big is that?
Almost a foot, I'd say.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Nice
in height.
Very cool. And that
I love all of these.
Is that the
same head? Yeah, but
painted?
I painted it twice. So I had two of the same one, and then yeah.
Is
that that's the hog belt?
Yeah,
or the boar belt. That's great.
Toys, yeah.
So, what got you into Legions to start with?
So I've been collecting since just after the first Kickstarter. So,
I was
really, really, really into Game of Thrones at the time. and I saw Gorgo Etherblade, and it just reminded me of Robert Baratheon's armor in the books, kind of the antlers and stuff, and I just really clicked with that initially. I didn't initially really get into the dwarf straight away because I was collecting other stuff, and I didn't feel that the Legion stuff scaled with that stupidly, naively. And then quickly realized, well, I don't need the rest of this stuff. Just get rid of that and just collect Legions exclusively. And yeah, off we go, really. So yeah, it was definitely Gorgo was the first figure I went out to get, definitely.
Nice.
Okay.
And you were pretty immediately attracted to the dwarves then?
Yeah, after I got my first one, that was all downhill. I don't know if that sounds too negative. Uphill from there. Yeah, so that's almost exclusively my entire collection at this point.
I would say uphill because dwarves are typically looking up. So
yeah.
Oh gosh,
that makes sense.
Jesse loves when I throw out stupid jokes.
I mean, whatever.
So what is it about the dwarves that really does it for you? Is it the kind of Lord of the Rings kind of vibe, or is it just something about the figures themselves? Like one of the things that I noticed when I got my first dwarf was how sturdy they are. Like they're very, like you can't knock those things over. So, but what was it that really drew you into that group?
I think there's a myriad of different things, really. The robustness, like you said, as a figure, just in its base, is really appealing. Lord of the Rings, especially. Lord of the Rings was my Star Wars, essentially, with my age and stuff. Growing up, that came out at a peak time, really. And John Rhys Davies, who plays Gimli, obviously a Welshman as well. So hearing a similar accent to mine on screen as a 10-year-old appeals, you know. But yeah, for the figures, I think after I got my first one, I kind of saw this uniformity that I just clicked with and really, really enjoyed that, really.
Yeah, that's cool.
Awesome.
What about like when you were growing up? What kind of toy lines were you into?
Ooh, definitely started with Legends, Marvel Legends. So my Tite, my grandfather in English, it just sounds really weird calling him anything but my Tite, was the one that really got me into kind of collecting, kind of facilitated that, taking us out sometimes just to buy toys. And Legends was what I was drawn into, really. So I started reading comics when I was about 7 or 8 to improve my English. So Spider-Man was my first comic. I remember specifically, it was the Identity Crisis, kind of the storyline. So ironically, my first Spider-Man comic never had Spider-Man in it, but I clicked with it. So yeah, collected Marvel Legends really from that point on, passively, and then some other bits and bobs, but definitely Legends made the core of what I collected. Then Lord of the Rings figures as they came out. So that was the fantasy aspect, and living in Wales, you can't really escape castles and legends and folklore and stuff, really. So that really resonated with me as a child, especially where I think it was the first film. We were living in a place called Bryn Saith Marchog, which translates to the Hill of the Seven Knights. So obviously, as a 10-year-old, again, that really just resonates with your imagination, really. So, but yeah, back to your original question, the dwarves, yeah, the robustness, the character there. I've spoken to Anthony Houseel about this kind of the pride that dwarves have in the story and stuff. I really resonate with that.
That's cool. So you must be relatively younger compared to most of what we see with Mythic Legions fans, because we usually see guys, in their, mid 40s that, kind of grew up with, Masters of the Universe and Star Wars and things like that. But you're relatively newer to this kind of thing then.
Yeah, I'm 31 in October. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, I do feel that I like the aesthetically Masters of the Universe, but I have no connection to the property at all, really.
Gotcha.
So I missed that train.
So did you have growing up, did you have like an affinity to like the Swords and Sandals type movies and things like that? Or is this something that relatively was new once you got into Mythic Legions?
I think it. No, definitely as I was growing up and stuff, watching Braveheart, so lots of which wasn't really suitable for me at that age at all.
Yeah.
It was my favorite film for a really, really long time, despite its historical inaccuracies. Yeah, definitely resonated with fantasy films more than anything else, really. So, just trying to think off the top of my head what I really clicked with. Braveheart's on one of them. Lord of the Rings, where I watched that until the VHS tapes just died on us, really.
Wow.
Yeah, that kind of thing. But like I said, living around where we do, there's castles and stuff all over the place. So kind of
Right.
the clicking with the history and stuff was really what I connected with. And I think sometimes I see things and I'm like, oh, a dwarf could live there, like this cave or whatever, you know? So,
Yeah.
yeah, where my family's from up in North Wales, there's lots of slates, quarries, and mines. So it's kind of difficult to escape that really when you see landscapes like that. So, yeah, it definitely brings it to life.
So have you like visited and been in like castles and things like that around there?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's one just down in the town that I live in there. So that's a hotel now. And then 7 miles down the road, you've got another one. I live at the foot of some hills. So there's a tower there that's fallen down since, but that was to commemorate George III, well, which
Oh
is quite
wow.
suitable for Independence Day. That was the monarch at the time, but there was a tower that collapsed there. So you can't really escape it, really. There's folklore and everything around you. So with my work, I rebuild I work a lot with kids and stuff. So I've been leading on a project building these castles in Lego and Minecraft. So I've not really been able to escape the history and
That's
stuff
awesome.
at all recently, unfortunately.
That's cool.
So like, you can't get away from it, so you might as well just dive headfirst into it.
Oh
Huh?
yeah, I
There
have
you
no
go.
choice. So you have to enjoy it, I think.
Yeah,
So
just own it.
yeah,
And Joe, I'm definitely not calling out one of the old guys because I am one of the old guys. So I'm just I just think it's interesting because usually there's certain things that I feel like leads into this hobby. And it's, like those of us that grew up with Conan the Barbarian and Beastmasters and or Beastmaster and Motu and things like that. So to see somebody that didn't grow up with those things still kind of go down a path that leads them to legions and customizing, I think is kind of interesting. So, yeah.
yeah,
Well, I think a cool thing about that is like you're from one of the places where a lot of these legends and folklore like are from.
yeah,
Mhm.
You know, I think it was you and I have talked about the Prydain books a little bit, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So in that, you know, at least the way I understand it, the Disney cartoon, they made the fair folk out to be like little like pixie, almost like fairies. The
Yeah.
way I understand it in the book, they're essentially at least I always called him Dolly. I don't know if it's Dolly or Dolly. I don't know the proper way to say his name because that one I can't remember. Um, but I always pictured him more as like a slightly shorter dwarf, like
Mm,
just a smaller human type character, not a pixie.
yeah.
Um, and so learning that like that was one of the different takes, and it's just interesting to me, like with figure obscura,
Mm.
like is there something from your culture and your fairy tales or folklore that you think would be a good a good thing to like mine for a figure obscura?
Yeah, definitely. There's loads. I think something that a lot of people have mentioned is King Arthur. But as I know him, Brenin Arthur. So there's a hill fort just a few miles away from where we are now, or where I am, obviously not where you guys are. That is named after him, the legend there anyway, and there's loads of stories associated with him. So I think a literally like a historically accurate Arthur would be fantastic, would be on the top of my list.
That
Okay.
would be
Maybe
cool.
something that's a bit more grounded in reality, rather than the French interpretation of him in
Okay.
the
So
late.
what would that look like?
Um, Post-Roman armor for me, so a lot more basic, no plate necessarily. Maybe chainmail. Trying to think. Ooh, I've been doing a lot of research recently about kind of post-Roman Britain. So they're kind of 6th sense, or earlier than that, obviously, armor. Yeah, something like that. I'm trying to visualize it really. Not too OTT, I think, is essentially what I'm trying to say. Not too stereotypically knighty, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
that would be really cool. I'd like that.
But another one would be, we spoke about this before, Jesse, about the Coplin. So there's they're essentially these creatures that live in mines. So they were to keep miners safe. So that's where the legend comes from. And as miners traveled over to the States, the legend kind of is kind of carried over to Pennsylvania specifically, where Welsh miners settled and they mined as well. So it's this kind of creature similar to what you mentioned, Jesse, not a goblin, not a dwarf, this kind of in between, essentially, a kind of nature-based creature. That's what I have in my head as well.
And what's it called?
A Coplin.
Coplin.
Yeah.
What
Very similar to goblin.
Do you
So
know
how's that spelled?
What is this? Do you know what this creature looks like, or like is there descriptions of it?
Not really. I think that if you Google Coplin, there's a lot of different interpretations. But if you spell it out, it's Coblyn. So very similar to goblin.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what I have in my head anyway. Something like that.
Yeah, there's nope, go ahead.
There's like in our legends and stuff, there's lots of these creatures fall into the same brackets as Tylwyth Teg. I've always known, growing up, a Tylwyth Teg for me was the Tooth Fairy. But there's fairies and they kind of all blend in together. You've got your elves, you got your dwarves and stuff are all Tylwyth Teg, essentially. They're all under the same bracket of fantasy creature, essentially. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I do remember you talking about this. Now we were talking because there's a comic book called White Ash set in like northern Pennsylvania in like a mining town. And the main character, by the end of the first issue, it's revealed that his family is like part dwarf. And there's this whole like ruckus between dwarves, elves, and I think vampires that are like in this little remote town. And it's pretty fun. So when you were telling me about that, I was like, oh gosh, that makes that comic even more interesting now. It's so sparse when it comes out. Like I'm dying for more. But yeah, it's this. They're all miners, and yeah, it's. I can't wait to read more of it. But that was cool to learn that like that it wasn't just someone decided like, oh, I like dwarves and fairy tale creatures, and I'm going to just put them randomly in Pennsylvania. Because whenever someone puts stuff in Pennsylvania, I'm like, that was a very specific choice. Why did they pick that? Other than like Civil War and Amish or Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, it's like, why else is someone picking Pennsylvania?
It's there's a lot of Welsh place names in Pennsylvania as well. So I can't remember her name. She's in One Division. She's in Thor. Natalie Portman's assistant.
Darcy.
Oh, Darcy.
Yeah, Darcy, the actress. Her actress. She's born in I can't remember the name of the town now, but that place has a Welsh name.
Oh, then, yeah, Kat Dennings.
There we go. That's her name.
I don't know why. I felt the need to look it up.
Yeah, I'm sitting here looking
Bryn
up
Mawr.
Pablo now.
Say again.
Bryn Mawr?
Yeah, Bryn Mawr. So
Bryn Mawr.
Bryn is a hill, kind of, and then Mawr is big. So big hill. Really basic, really. So
yeah. I mean that. Yeah, I mean a lot of. I like basic names are good. Like I like basic. It's because it's like all right, yeah. There's like when they give him Underhill in The Hobbit as his code name. I like that's perfect.
Done. You know exactly what's going on there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like something like this.
Yes. Yeah.
That'd be cool. I'd be down with that.
Yeah. Something a bit different.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that'd be neat.
Yeah.
So we had a couple people in chat asking about Dungeons and Dragons. Is that something that you were into either now or when you were younger?
I've tried to play it. A group of my friends who they might listen to this after, I don't know, are incredibly bad at organizing things. I'm reaching the point now where I'm inviting them to things an hour early so they turn up on time. So we've tried to organize a D&D group with them, one of them being the DM, and it's never come to fruition, unfortunately.
Oh, no.
So I follow the lore, I know of it and stuff, and I really enjoyed the film that came out earlier this year. But yeah, I appreciate it from afar, not really having played it before, unfortunately.
Yeah, I've never played myself, but from everybody that I've talked to that has played, it seems like scheduling and consistency of people showing up is one of the most important things. So
that's the essential element, and we're lacking that. So if we're lacking that, there's not much hope, really.
Yeah, if you don't have that, you're in bad shape.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, what other kind of things besides customizing and collecting toys? What other kind of things are you into? Whether it's shows, movies, hobbies. What else do you like to do?
Yeah, big gamer. If I have the time, really. So played a lot of World of Warcraft in my time. So that's obviously where the dark kind elements come into it. And World of Warcraft really kind of the architecture of places as well really inspires me. I feel it blends in quite nicely with the real world. So that's one big game that's had a massive influence on me. The Witcher series, again, a lot of fantasy stuff. So that was one thing that I could definitely do growing up, was playing PC games, Age of Mythology, Age of Empires and stuff, really. I'm just knocking off all these historically based stuff or fantasy stuff. But yeah, comics as well, try and read as much as I can. But our local shop closed a few years ago. So there's we don't have that much access to stuff in this area, unfortunately. So I have to buy stuff online. That's how I normally do it anyway. So yeah.
What were your thoughts on the Warcraft movie?
Potential, but it drags, really, doesn't it? I think there's mention of a series on Netflix or something. I saw something.
I hadn't heard that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, a poll to get like 15,000, but in reality, 15,000 signatures isn't really that much.
Right.
So I think it would work better as a series than it did the film. I think.
Yeah.
There's a lot of potential there story-wise. I know a lot of people have fan casted Henry Cavill as Arthas and stuff, so that has potential. But obviously, he's going to be held down now with the 40K stuff, his passion project there. So I don't think he really wants to run around like a white-haired guy wielding a sword after his past experiences with Netflix. So
I enjoy it. At this point, I enjoy it for what it is, but I was a little disappointed because I don't know. I feel like they were trying to make a movie that would appeal to audiences that didn't play the game, like people that knew nothing about that property, that they would go in and enjoy it. And so they basically just stuck to like one storyline with the orcs and the humans. And I just think there's such a wealth of stuff within that world that they left untapped. So if that's the only movie we ever get, it almost like breaks my heart that we didn't get some of the other stuff. Like I would much rather them just made one huge fan service movie. And even if it bombed, at least we had that to go back to, but yeah, so a little disappointed. But I mean, as far as like the graphics, like or the CGI and stuff, like I think, I mean, for especially, for when it came out, I think it looks pretty good. Like, there's nothing I could recall from there where I was like, this looks pretty rough. Like it all looked really good. And the story was okay. It wasn't, I mean, it held my attention for the most part, but like I said, I can appreciate it for what it is. I just makes me sad for what it isn't. So
I think they went very surface level, didn't they? There was no depth there at all, and that suffers because of it. 100%. It holds up special effects wise, definitely, compared to something like The Hobbit that had a lot more of the budget, really, and that pains me to say that. But yeah, I think, like you said, if they'd gone in deep and really fan serviced it, people would appreciate that so much more,
Oh,
and
yeah.
It can
well,
stand.
There's so much better stories too. Like they could have told the transformation of Arthas, into the Lich King. They could have told Illidan's story. Like there's a lot of different things that they could have gone down that I think would have been more interesting than what they gave us too. But
yeah,
I hope they can learn from, because I have played Warcraft, not nearly as much as you guys, I don't think. And I was always the Horde, and I was just playing with a guild, like doing stuff. So I didn't like get as much into the lore to where I know a lot of stuff. But I agree with Vani's comment that it did felt pretty vanilla as far as the movie. Like I liked it. I think the special effects are amazing. I think I'm drawing a blank on his name. That played the lead orc. He was one of the guys in
Duragar.
No. Durotan?
Duratan,
yeah.
But the actor that played him, he was one of the mocap guys for, I think, Koba in the Planet of the Apes remakes.
Oh, really?
And he was in first thing I saw him in was I think, was it a Guy Ritchie movie? Where he was like this kid of this like drug lord or something, and he just wanted to play video games. I think it's got Gerard Butler, I think, is in it, and dang, what is that movie? That's gonna drive me nuts now.
No idea, man.
You can just name a few actors in the Guy Ritchie film. You guarantee to get some right. So
that's
yeah.
true.
So I'm pretty sure it's Gerard Butler. I think Idris Elba. I feel like Mark Strong was in it. What is this guy's name? It's gonna. I gotta look him up. I'm sorry.
Couldn't tell you. I did like what they did with Gul'dan in that movie. I thought that like the magic stuff that they did with the Fell was really cool.
Yeah.
Just like I said, a lot of untapped potential. Like you didn't show any of the undead. You didn't show any trolls, Draenei. Heck, like the dwarves got like a little like 2-minute section where they're like talking about building a gun or whatever, and that was like it. So
I'm not bitter about that at all.
yeah.
Toby Kebbell is his name.
Okay.
And the movie was Rock and Rolla.
Okay.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, I've never watched it, but
yeah,
it's definitely not one of the better Guy Ritchie movies, but it's entertaining if you like his type of storytelling. But yeah, I think he was great as like the mocap on that. I think was really good because he studied with Andy Serkis for the Planet of the Apes. So doing that, I think he put a lot into it. And the only thing that in that movie that was kind of disappointing me was the young mage. Like I didn't like he wasn't bad. I just
yeah.
Khadgar.
Yeah.
He just didn't quite. He felt like a guy from now that was stuck in a World of Warcraft movie. But I got more Murlocs doing the off the side of the bridge in the one scene, so like I was thrilled. Like they couldn't do anything wrong for me in the rest of the movie at that point.
It's funny because I think I missed that part at first, but I think my wife caught it. And like, yeah.
I play a lot of Hearthstone as well, so that's definitely my switch off game. So the Murloc sound is very, very familiar.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I would love a series with that. I think that would be great. So
before I sidetracked myself with the actor, what I was trying to say is I hope that maybe the people who have the rights to making World of Warcraft series or movies can maybe not mimic what D&D's movie did, but learn from that. Like maybe we don't have to tell the whole epic story. Maybe we can just focus on a group of characters on a mission, or like you were saying, Chris, like focus on an Arthas story. You don't have to explain the entire evolution of the world in one movie.
Like Arthas' story is very like tragic, but it's like he's a hero, but at the same time he's not a hero, and it's just there's a lot of emotion in that story. I think that would have been a good one. So but yeah, we'll see. I know they just announced recently that they've got they cut a deal with McFarlane. He's supposed to be making World of Warcraft figures, so those are coming soon. They've showed some like shadow like versions of them, but we don't know what the figures actually are. So I guess we'll see. Somehow I figure we're going to end up with a World of Warcraft Batman somehow. I don't know, but
yeah, I'm not sure how much action's in those action figures. Unfortunately, that's the issue. I think they're going to be statues.
But I mean, if they feel like there's enough interest for an action figure line, maybe they feel like there's enough for a show. So hopefully that would come. I would definitely check that out.
Yeah.
I think things like The Witcher being successful, Last of Us this past season, being successful, I think that's opening the door for these video game franchises to have more of a storytelling aspect within movies and TV and that kind of thing. So
yeah, gritty and grounded. You don't have to skirt around subjects that they would normally avoid. But personally, I'd love to see an animated Warcraft series. I think with Vox Machina being so successful, I think people have got a taste for stuff like that now. I think that would really, really work. Because I think if you look at YouTube comments and stuff on trailers, like, oh, why don't you just make a series based on this animation? Just run a series and see how it goes. Because I think people just appreciate that massively.
Well, they did that one on Netflix. What is it? Arcane, the one that's for League of Legends.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. So yeah, I mean, I could see that working. Personally, I would rather have a live action, but I know that that's going to be a lot more expensive. So, who knows?
I'm to the point now with some of this stuff, especially fantasy stuff, where if it's a property I really like, or that there's so much depth that they could into, like World of Warcraft, or even the Chronicles of Prydain, which I think they could do as a TV series, like short seasons, like 5 seasons, get through the books. I'd almost rather them do it as a really cool stylized animation, like Arcane, like Vox Machina, or something to that effect, where it still feels like its own world, because then you're spending all the money on the animation and not necessarily the voice actors and like the performance and special effects and like big marketing budgets. Like, I think those would have the chance, and maybe if those do well, maybe get a live action something down the road would be really cool. But like,
I would prefer the live action right away myself, but I definitely would rather have a series than a movie. Like, like a live action series, to me, there's a lot more potential in spreading something out across, 10 episodes or 8 episodes or whatever, than trying to cram it into a movie and expect people go to the, the theater to see. So, but yeah, I mean, I would take whatever. If they came out with an animated version, yeah, I would definitely go see it. Or
movies make more money usually on the front end. So that's, where,
I think lots of where these properties are failing right now is that they're not really resonating with fans, with characters. I think that's the issue. The D&D movie, I really enjoyed it, a lot of fun, but where do you go with that? Do you know what I mean? Like, that's a standalone story. That's fantastic in itself, but if you want to have a sequel, where are you going to go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think the way they set that up, though, they've created the world. And so now you could then kind of go into like other adventures that are more serious or more funny or whatever. So we'll see. I thought that movie was pretty good for not knowing anything about D&D.
Here's what you could do with a Warcraft show. I know I didn't watch it, but there was that Netflix show where you could watch it in any order, and depending on the order you watched it, it might tell a slightly different story.
Yeah.
Pick to watch Warcraft either from the Horde's perspective or the Alliance perspective. So you can use a lot of the same dialogue when the heroes and villains are interacting with each other, or battle sequences, and then just have what's the Horde character saying in this scene? How can you play them to where, like in the game, playing as the Horde, you don't view yourselves as the bad guys. And if you're the Alliance, they definitely are. And it's just, I think that would be a fun way to tie it more into the game, whether it's live action or animated.
Yeah.
You can also have it where you don't understand what they're saying as well, true to the game. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're
Yeah,
saying,
that's true.
there's all occasion I have no idea what you're saying. So
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's a good idea. But I'm definitely putting my hat into the ring of a dwarf central D&D movie. I'm there for that.
That would work.
I'll go see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell a horror story in that the world of D&D that they set up. Like that was a fun heist movie. They've established the world now. They've established the language. You just change the tone or the lens you're filming it through. You can tell your horror movie or like your epic heroic journey. You know, I think the groundwork is there if they can just get the right creative minds behind it to tell another good story.
Yeah.
You could tell the story of an overweight dragon with diabetes that has to go on a diet and, you know, change the way that he's living his life so he doesn't lose his foot. So,
I mean, that's actually a children's book I read growing up a lot but it was about a cat, not a dragon, called Katundra.
okay.
You're hoping that he loses all the weight so he can just go terrorize people.
Yeah.
The cat would get made fun of and would make him sad, so he would eat and then he would get fatter, and it was like this whole cycle. And then he eventually finds this mouse, and the mouse like helps him exercise. It was actually like a really beautiful, deep, like kids book, you know, as opposed to like the Good Night Moon or, you know, like it was. Yeah.
I want to see like a fat dragon with a life coach helping them like exercise and eat right.
He just gobbles down like a horde of goblins or something, and the life coach is like, "Buddy,
yeah,
we just talked about this."
Yeah. Come on, couldn't you just have one?
Good.
Like, he had to eat the whole bunch of them.
Who would you cast as the coach?
Ooh, Ted Lasso.
Jack Black.
I was thinking Arnold Schwarzenegger, but no.
I would do somebody just like, you know, very super uber positive. So yeah, like Jason Sudeikis as Ted Lasso.
That'd be good. Or what's his name from Parks and Rec? Chris.
Oh yeah.
I know
who you're talking about.
That actor?
The Rob Lowe.
Yeah, Rob Lowe's like just because he's doing all those like health food diet commercials now. My
favorite Rob Lowe moment in that series was when he got like deathly ill and he's just like looking at himself in the mirror and he goes, "Stop pooping." Good stuff.
JG, yes, I know Katundra. I'm gonna bring Katundra up.
I'll be honest, I thought you just made that up.
Yeah, I did.
No, it's a legit book. Where's
Let's see who can make the first Katundra custom then.
There you go.
Where's stop screen?
I'm surprised that somebody hasn't made that mouse that you're talking about then with all the mouse parts.
I mean, I might now that we've talked about it and it's in my head. Like I might. Yeah, this is the version I have. I have it. It's on my bookshelf over here. 2209. Yeah. Yeah, it was. Yeah, like this cat. Look at this little guy. He just gets so sad. He's just like chomping away on bread and cake and cookies and ice cream. Oh, it's not loading.
I might see if they've got it on YouTube where somebody reads it to me, so I don't have to read.
I'll read it to you after we hang up tonight, Curtis.
Nice. I want a mythic minute on Thursday with you reading Katundra.
Okay, there we go. Next week, because I already scheduled this week.
After you make a mouse custom for that book, then I want you to read the story.
Fair enough.
Oh, good stuff.
That's the next figure obscura reveal then.
There it is.
There it is. Cat's out the bag now.
Mouse. Yep.
Hey.
Literally.
Just because it won't fit in the bag. It's too big.
What did you guys think of the Rings of Power series then, if you watched it?
I saw it.
I loved it.
Yeah. I
I
enjoyed
I
would.
it.
mean, the Lord of the Rings trilogy will always be the best thing I think they've done to this point. I do enjoy The Hobbit. I have some issues with it, but overall I enjoyed it. I think Rings of Power lands somewhere in between the two for me, just because the production value and the look of it feels more like the original trilogy than The Hobbit, and I loved the way they portrayed the dwarves in that, like the angst between like the father and the son,
Yeah.
and his relationship with his wife and everything. I just thought that was really cool.
I think that the thing that, and I've said this before, so sorry for anybody that's heard this, but I think the thing that Rings of Power had going against it was that it was going against at the same time as House of the Dragon. And to me, House of the Dragon was just so much better. I like, as far as like what Jesse was talking about with what they've made so far, I actually prefer the Hobbit movies first. Like that would be my first choice. Then I would put Lord of the Rings, and I would put Rings of Power a distant third.
Wow.
I mean, there were things that were good in it, and I think that if I was watching like if I didn't have another show that I was watching at the same time and I was just binge watching that, I think I would probably enjoy it a little bit more. But because it was on at the same time as House of Dragon, and I'm like basically watching one and then the other, I'm like the House of Dragon was just pulling me in so much more and keeping me interested. Plus, I just thought it was like the graphics and things were a lot cooler too. So, but
Yeah,
It's okay to be wrong.
it's all right. It's my personal opinion. So
yeah. I've again just to plug Wales in there firmly all the time. Any opportunities, and like both have a very well-known actor. House the Dragon, Steve Van's in that. He's literally from my hometown. So
oh yeah,
Oh wow.
his
cool.
mom taught me in school. So shout out to Auntie Betsy.
Which character was he?
So he is, what's his name? The Hand Hightower.
Oh wow.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he can be
He
seen
was a
around
jerk.
But yeah, the jerk. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a jerk.
But he's a very, very versatile actor. To be fair to him, he's been in
Yeah.
a lot of different things. So he can be seen around our local shop quite often. Just trying to be as incognito as possible, but he's quite tall and blonde, so he stands out.
Yeah.
So, and then you've got with Rings of Power, you got Owain Arthur as during the fourth as well. So again, for me, the highlight of that series, that first series, was the dwarves again. No kind of.
I did like that. I liked the whole, with the elves and the dwarves kind of talking and trying to mend relationships, and that like that part of it, I did think was very interesting.
Yeah.
The whole part with what's her name, the main lady, the sorceress lady.
Galadriel.
Yeah,
Galadriel.
her whole part I did not like the everything with the sending her out on the water and then the shipwreck and then being like all that I just thought was drawn out and slow and didn't do anything for me. But I did like the dwarves and the elf stuff when they were talking and trying to repair things and things. That really was cool to me.
I think we're lucky though. Both series are very good actors, and the effort they put into it is 100%. So it's just a shame that some of the writing and the pacing and stuff of Rings of Power. I loved the series, I did, but again, like you said, there's shortcomings there, and I think if with season 2 now, series 2, I hope that they can improve on that and build on what they did well. The escapism and the production value was sky high. So yeah.
Now I'll be fair. I'm only teasing about the House of Dragon. I think it's an amazing show. I would argue that some of the effects probably are better than the Rings of Power, but I am always going to be a little more partial to the Tolkien world than the Game of Thrones world, and I actually enjoy seeing the characters in Rings of Power more than the characters, because I feel like there's very few people in House of the Dragon that like I want to root for. Like they're all kind of awful.
Yeah.
Some of them aren't as awful as others, but it's like it's really hard to find someone to root for just like in Game of Thrones. Like it was a little easier, I think, in
There's
Game
a
of
few
Thrones
people,
to
but
find
yeah,
some.
I mean it's more.
They're not the main
Yeah.
characters.
Yeah, there's a few people. But yeah, I get what you're saying. It definitely like it's not as black and white with the good and evil. Like there's most everybody is a dirty shade of gray in the Game of Thrones universe. So for me, I didn't grow up with any of that. Like I didn't read any of those books. I never knew of those properties until the movies came out. So like I just take it at face value. There's no nostalgia or attachment to me. It's just I watch it and did it entertain me or no, kind of thing. So
I think one's escapism and one is drama, isn't it? I think that's the difference. I think because I could hear when Jesse was giving his opinion there that all the characters are this kind of no one's a particularly nice person that you're supporting. You could just hear Meg behind me here just agreeing, like this giggling.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think your opinion there is shared here anyway, Jesse. So
and it's like it's so hard because like I didn't want in Game of Thrones, I didn't want Daenerys to go bad. Yeah, it made sense, but they rushed it at the end.
Yeah.
But I wanted her to be the difference to her family story and not just this whole it's in the blood, we all have to go bad, because that's such lazy writing in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, it was that last season was kind of just shit. So
there's a lot of awesome stuff in it, but
yeah,
really, really bad story decisions that they just rushed to finish it.
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to end that way in the books, though? Do you think that's the inevitability, or do you think there's going to be some difference?
I mean, at this point, it sounds like he has no interest in writing it since the show has done an ending. He's like, well, like I don't know. Yeah, that's a weird place to be in.
Yeah. It would take the wind out of your sails, wouldn't it? Really, the motivation's gone. Really, it's
because it's now like, did he know what he was going to write? Because when I write, I know like certain points, and I'm not comparing myself to them as writers, but like when I'm writing something, like I don't necessarily know all the details that are filling in. Like I kind of have an idea, and then I'll get to a point and I'm like, well, I can't do that thing I was planning now because of this.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know if because of what he was planning to do and what the show did, like he can't really do what the show did unless he makes it better and explains it a lot more.
Yeah.
Or if he does something different than the show, then people are gonna like, oh, he just didn't want to do what the show did. And you know, I feel like he's in a bad spot, but that he put himself in because he didn't finish.
Yeah, I never read any of the books. You know, spoiler alert, I don't read. But I actually did read the King Killer Chronicles, and so I can relate, because if you guys have read those books, like it's supposed to be a 3-book series, and he wrote the first 2 books. That's Patrick Rothfuss, and like the 3rd book has supposedly been in the works for like 12 years or something, and it's just like I don't know that he's ever going to put it out, and it just this is why I don't read. Yeah,
this one very specific example.
Yeah,
I blame him.
Yeah, but the
I
book,
won't read any of the hundreds
really
of other series that are finished.
Yeah.
But
the first 2 books, especially Name of the Wind, like that book by itself is just so good. Like it I usually find myself when I read, like I can only make it a page or 2 and I get bored or sleepy or whatever, but that I couldn't put that thing down. So it just sucks because they, you know, I don't know that he'll ever put out the last book. So
yeah, I was notoriously slow for reading. In primary school, we all had our book every month, and we had to kind of do a presentation as to what the book was. And for an entire year, for me, it was the same book. Like different months, other people had different books. It was the same book for me throughout the year. I don't think I ever actually finished the book. So that's
what do you remember what it was?
The Knight and the Squire.
Nice.
That's what it's called. So
okay.
Yeah, I'll have to go back to that one. But yeah, I'm with you there, Curtis. Very, very slow at reading.
Yeah.
Oh man.
No.
So you know what we should probably bring up, because there's only a couple hours left. All-Star 6.
Oh yes.
It ends tonight. So if you haven't got in your order yet for All-Star 6, you may want to do that. Gwion, have you placed your order? Did you?
I haven't. No, I'll probably do it with some retailers over here, just with the import fees.
Gotcha.
Really, I think that's my only deterrent. I spoke to Richard Jones, I think it was yesterday, like, oh, what's the cut-off point here with import fees? What's the max I can order without trying to accrue import fees? So it's about 3 figures. So for me, I'd rather order them in bulk over here with one of the retailers here and get them all done. But there's a part of me that wants to pre-order some of the dwarves to show the horsemen that there are dwarf lovers there that will pre-order and put their money where their mouth is. So yeah.
So are those I'm guessing both are, and the skeleton dwarf are the ones that are pulling you in the most?
Yeah. Sir Andrew as well is a massive pull for me. I think that's a fantastic looking vicar. Really, really, really good. But I think this is a solid wave, to be fair. I don't think there's a weak point here at all. So they're all really appealing, unfortunately.
I mean, obviously Sir Enoch's the best. Because the Templars are cool.
Yeah.
So
you know what he does? You know what he does when he comes over to your house?
Who, Sir Enoch? Enoch's?
Yeah.
Nice. Beauty.
I think I'm gonna explain that Curtis does something to your Templars or something. I'm like, where's this going?
No, I just love Templars.
Just wanted to make a really bad pun.
Yeah. I've talked at length about being kind of over the all-star format, but I think the new figures are all awesome. But yeah, and then the belts pack. Oh, no, those are so cool.
I only got 74 of those.
Yeah, 10 million. So I don't think I will be ordering as many Enochs as I did Sentries, though. I think Sentries is going to be my biggest one.
How many of those have you got on order?
I've got 1 in hand, and I've got 36 more on order. So yeah. So
any left for anyone else? So
yeah, there'll be a few.
Do you have any ideas with them for
one
customs?
At each major retailer.
Yeah. What's that now, Gwion?
So, do you have any ideas with them for customs, or are they going to remain?
I really got into Clone Wars recently, and so I just want to have some that are kind of like troop builder ones, and then have some that are like sergeants and captains and commanders with different color schemes and things like that. And I was really pushing, because I work with Wolf King Customs, and I was pushing on Emil hard recently. I was like, so Emil, are you still sculpting? Or are you just doing customs? What are you? And just giving him a hard time. And he's like, well, I was thinking about working on some aliens. I'm like, yeah. Aliens are cool, but how about like a trooper helmet, like a space trooper? And he's like, yeah, we could do something like that. So I've been pushing on him, and it looks like he's just finished one that will be coming out at Wolf King Customs. So I'm super excited about that. So
nice.
Just had to, put some undue pressure on Emil. But yeah, I already he showed the design to Len, and I immediately told Len, I was like, I need 30 something of these. So just let's get printing those up.
I've got quite a few Black Series Clone Trooper customs as well.
Yeah.
Not made myself, but a few bought and stuff. So my younger brother really got me mainly into customizing himself, to be honest. He started the Star Wars stuff and really flew with the Clone Troopers and stuff. So yeah. The kind of the base there lends itself so well to just going a bit crazy, really, and making your own battalions and stuff like that, really. So I see a few things like that cropping up sometimes of, if Qui-Gon had survived, what would his battalion look like, or his troop and stuff, what color and stuff. And yeah, the fan fiction there is fantastic.
Yeah, some what if scenarios.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, so that's kind of my plans on it. And then that first one I painted up, it was just kind of exploring the details and getting used to it. So it was exciting. And I just love that figure. So, and the whole Cosmic Wave was good, but that Sentry is, to die for. So, yeah.
Do you have any of the Cosmic on pre-order, Jesse?
I didn't get any in on the pre-order. I wasn't fully enough aware of who the four horsemen were and store horsemen and all of that when wave 1 was up for pre-order. So I didn't really catch any of that, but I do have there's a guy that lives like 10 minutes down the road from me who's an official retailer or approved retailer. So I've got 2. He will be holding 2 for me when he gets them for the July 27th release.
Nice.
And he's setting up at a toy show that weekend, which, you know, he'll have them out at that. So depending on finance at the time, I might grab a couple. But I'm focusing on Mythic. But I've said what I want to do is have like that crew from book 1 has escaped the prison, and via a wormhole or something they crash on Mythos, so they're stuck in this medieval world. And you know, I'm gonna like part swap them around a little bit to make them feel like they're trying to fit in, and like the Sphexians are coming after them. That's
really cool. That's good.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of parts so I can make a space dwarf. That's where I'm looking at it as well. So
okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard of the game Deep Rock Galactic, where you play as a bunch of dwarves that drink heavily and mine on meteors. So,
okay,
yeah, the Sphexian driller, I think, lends itself quite nicely there. If I can think of the parts, someone has probably put it all together already, I imagine.
Very cool.
I don't know if you remember, I was talking about the like space orcs from Warhammer, where they have like the cybernetic parts and stuff like that. I was thinking about it after our show on Friday, and I want to let me share my screen here. I want to take this dude here and make him into a space orc, like replace the head, get some sort of orc head on there, paint this whole thing green, and just make him a space orc. I think it would be pretty badass.
He's nice. Brute scale, right?
Is he? I thought he was just regular. I don't know that it's
because isn't Kalazir brute scale, the genie or the djinn?
He is, yes.
Because I think that's what his lower leg is.
Maybe he is. Guy. I don't know. I don't think it says on here, so I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
But I'll have enough. I bought a bunch of those. What is it? Tharnog from the Poxus wave. I bought enough of them that I'll have some brute scale orcs if I need to. But yeah, I don't know. I'm getting really into the cosmic right now. They're so cool.
Yeah, that orc that you painted the other day would work well there, really, as a space orc as well. Painted red, they'll just go quicker.
Yep. All right.
Nope.
So
that is not the same shin.
Oh, it's not?
Nope.
Kevin says it's brute scale, so
maybe Tharnog has that shin. Yes. Tharnog has like the wrap.
Oh, okay.
Like the strap wrap foot.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So you say you're not coming to Legion's Con, but you may have some stuff that comes with Richard Jones to Legion's Con? Okay. Yeah. So does Richard, or I'm guessing the Euro Legions, do they have like their own table together?
Yeah,
or
they do. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll send those over with Rich. I just need to get them.
Thought you listened to their podcast, Curtis. They talked about having their own table.
This most recent one?
I mean, they've talked about it on multiple ones, but yes, they did talk about it on this last one.
Must have missed that. Yeah,
get lost in the lather.
I just listened to all the 18. I probably did get lost in the lather. So you know what? By the end of the 18, I was so mad at Jeremy for shooting down all townsfolk that I was just like, my face was red and steam was pouring off of me. So because he always goes to like farmers and stuff. Like, listen, nobody's asking for a farmer, but there's some cool non-combatant people that would be interesting for the line. And so I kind of lost my cool.
I don't believe it.
Right.
Not at all.
Okay. So what else you got going on, Gwion?
Very busy with work, unfortunately. Summer holidays coming up now, so dreading that. Just finished a local festival as well. I volunteer with So that's been taking a lot of my time. Yeah, so that's been going on. So once I finish the custom commissions that I've got, I'll crack on with some new dwarves, and I'll probably get the stuff ready for Legion's Con, so we can speak there, Curtis, about what you'd like.
Absolutely.
If you were
So-
to get a dwarf, so we'll
So
sort that.
is that what you do? Is a lot of commission work, like where people will reach out to you and say, "Hey, can you do X, Y, or Z for me?"
So the ones I've been painting now, my first ones. So
Okay.
it was coming out the blue really. After I think it was where everyone put their favorite figures of the year up in the cabal. Someone reached out and wondered if I would be open to a commission, and yeah, that's where it started really. So it can be the start of something. I see, like maybe going a bit further, but we'll see if time allows. Yeah, I'm more than happy to do so.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely be interested to see what you have brought over for Legion's Con, because I mean, everything I've seen you do so far has been amazing. I was going to say fire, but I thought that was a little too on point with the beards. So
Kurt is coming in with a hot take.
yeah, hot take. They got hot beards. So
Yeah, I buy a lot of like more than one head, so it works quite well there with a catalog if I were to make more customs and stuff to sell. So
Gotcha.
yeah, I've got a few Wolf King custom heads ready to go there, really. So
that's awesome.
yeah,
Cool.
So do you have, like, as far as painting and stuff, do you have a certain set of paints that you like best, or tools that you use a lot, or anything like that?
it's Vallejo paints that I did use Citadel exclusively for a really long time, and then I've kind of gravitated more towards Vallejo really as time's gone on, more just for convenience really, with just kind of getting the paint out there.
Yeah.
Had with the flesh tone dwarves using a wet palette was a game changer.
Absolutely.
But where I don't really use that with the kind of the dark iron forger dwarves, I just kind of use a normal palette and go as I can really. But yeah, dry brushes, really good dry brushes that Meg got me again, thankfully. Game changer there. So she got me a series of stuff over Christmas. So we had a bit of an advent calendar thing where she bought parts and brushes and stuff over before Christmas. So that was new head every day or a new paintbrush and stuff. So that's where I got the new dry brushes, and they worked really well. So
that's cool.
Yeah, clicked onto that really.
Yeah, I use a lot of Citadel, but if I have paints that I use a lot, I'll put it into a dropper just so it's more convenient. So like one of them that I use a lot is Mornfang Brown. So I've got a dropper that'll hold pretty much 2 pots of Citadel paint in it. So when it runs near empty, I'll just open up that dropper, buy 2 new ones, and just scrape it all in there. Because yeah, you're right. It's definitely a lot easier to have a dropper than messing with the pots. So yeah, that's cool. And then I started using a lot of the So Flats paints as well. They work really well. But yeah, that's cool. I love the colors that you come up with on yours. Like, they're just so bright and vibrant, and so yeah, good stuff. Just keep it up for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm learning as I go on, and just trying to develop new ways of doing it, and trying to save as much time as possible, really. So I've got a kind of very, very rudimental basic setup on the kitchen table here. So that's there's nothing overly special. And then I just try and paint when I have the opportunity to do, really, between everything. So yeah.
Well, I've got an update for you real quick. And this is something I do this thing where I rank all the European folks that I meet. And it's based on a thing I called Euro points. And I want to let you know you've made the list tonight.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Yep. And you're actually
so
third. You're third. Oh, okay. Third in the Euro list, based on I just tabulated the Euro points. So we've got Emil, and then Richard Jones, and then you. You're right there.
Well, do I have to get Rich out of second?
Yeah, it's going to be tough because Rich does a lot of Templars, and that kind of gave him a lot of Euro points for that. But you're beating John by a mile, just so you know. Like,
Good.
yeah, Caulfield's got he likes the flocking and all that kind of stuff, so he's way down there. Mal's right behind you, but I don't know that I see him catching you. So,
Good.
but yeah, you're firmly in slot 3 behind Emil and Richard. So,
right. So more Templars, I'll climb.
oh yeah, if you did a Templar, a Dark Iron Templar dwarf, I'm telling you, you might even make number 1.
All right, Legions, come on, let's get on it.
Yeah. But Emil did just sculpt me a space helmet. So once I get that in hand, that's going to give him a big boost. So
I'm happy with number 2 to Emil. I'll settle with that. I think.
Yeah, he is kind of a superstar. That's a high standard.
Yeah,
so
yeah, I don't think I can beat that.
Yeah.
I'm a little concerned that you don't have Thomas or Toy View on that list.
Tomos is on there, but he's just above John. And mostly because he uses that Facebook Live for his show, and I hate Facebook Live. So
I mean, he doesn't have an option.
I know it's not his fault,
okay.
But yeah, just he slid in the rankings. He was number 2 for a long time because I only knew 2 Europeans, but now as I've met more, he's just kind of slid further and further down the list.
Oh my goodness!
So, yeah.
So he's got an easy way to fix it if he wants to.
Yeah. I mean, the things that I like. I mean, if you guys want some Euro points, just do the things I like. So
noted.
Oh, welcome, Trevor.
Now I got to find a way to knock Trevor down a bit.
No, you don't. You just let him have it.
Yeah, no, it was too good. I had to show it. Trevor did some amazing work. So,
cool. There was a question back here when we were talking about shows. I have.
All right.
Curtis, you had something else.
No, I just wanted to show my Euro standings or talk about them. Okay. So,
I apologize on behalf of this channel for Curtis's need to rank people.
I'm good. I'm happy.
Just the Europeans. Americans, I don't have to do that because they're all cool. So
I call bull crap on that. It's because you would have to. The list would be too long, and you don't want to deal with that.
That's true. It would be too much reading.
we need to like 3 or 4 more Europeans, and that way you just don't want to deal with the list anymore.
Yeah. If we get to like a dozen Europeans, I'm gonna be like, okay, forget it. I'm done ranking them.
This is too much like reading.
This is too much.
Someone commented about the what was it? The Netflix series, the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance. Did you get to check that out, and what did you think of that?
I've not seen that. No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I've not seen that either.
It's great. If you ever saw the original 80s movie, I love it. I didn't watch it till I got to college because it freaked me out when I saw the trailers as a kid. Because everything scared me. I was a very frightenable child. It's slow. Curtis, you probably wouldn't like it if you have not seen it yet. The movie is slow. But there's no people in it. It's all puppets. I mean, there might be people in a costume, but there's no like human characters on screen. It's people in like giant costumes being puppeted and everything.
I've seen the original Dark Crystal movie. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
If you like that, you would probably like the show because the show takes place before the movie and it kind of sets up. There's a lot more of the Gelflings. There's a lot more of them. And it kind of sets up what happens to them. But the guy who directed it, I think is a French director. He was only supposed to do like the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
And then he ended up doing the whole show because he got such he enjoyed doing it so much, but I guess it didn't get enough reaction online. But it's really good. It's a lot of puppetry. They did a lot of stuff to kind of get it back to like they did in the 80s movie with some CG enhancement where they did some animation to like some of the creatures' tongues or whatever just to kind of enhance it, not full CG. I think it's beautiful. I think it's a fun story. Why can't I find this director's name? but it's really good. But I think it got canceled. But I think it's definitely worth giving a watch. At some point.
Trevor says disappointed they canceled it. Kevin says he was gutted that they canceled season 2 without finishing the story. It was only supposed to be 2 seasons. Just let them finish it. So, yeah, it sounds like some people are upset that they canceled it.
Yeah.
I did watch the first 5 episodes of Witcher. Are you guys all caught up on Witcher?
Not caught up yet. No.
Okay. Have you started season 3?
Not yet. No.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I've got a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah. Well, I will just say so far it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So, I'm interested to see how they're going to finish this out with Cavill and not make it weird with the transition. So we'll see how that goes.
Doctor Who scenario where he just kind of lights up and the Hemsworth just steps out. And I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that's going to work.
Yeah, initially I was wondering if they were going to have Liam play a different character, but they did confirm he is going to be playing Geralt. So how they're going to do that, I don't know, but I guess we'll see. But so far the season's been pretty good. You're caught up, right, Jesse?
I am. I'm super annoyed that they cut the last 3 episodes like a month away. I mean, I know Netflix is desperate for people to stay subscribed and keep money, but like you could be a little less obvious about it.
Yeah. They did that with Stranger Things too, didn't they? Like split it up to where
Yeah, but they added, I feel like they made the episodes longer, and maybe the last 3 will be longer episodes but like the first 2 seasons of Witcher were both 8 episodes, just like this.
Yeah.
And they were not split up.
Yeah.
Oh, you got a visitor behind you.
Yeah, we've got Freya over there, the cat. So,
okay.
Nice. The spots normally.
It's a great name for a cat.
Yeah. She fits it quite well, really, to be fair. So a little bit of madam. No.
Looks like Kevin may be throwing a spoiler into the chat from the books, so we won't pull that up. But if you're interested, check out chat. So okay, cool. What else is going on right now? We got Secret Invasions. Do you watch any of the Marvel stuff?
I haven't caught up there either. Big fan of the comic Secret Invasion. The event was fantastic, and the lead up to it as well was really good. I think they probably missed the trick. I might be completely wrong. The series might address that, but kind of putting little Easter eggs in there beforehand would have been a really good way of doing it. I don't know. So
I think definitely different from the comic.
Yeah, I think there's only supposed to be 6 episodes total, and there's 3 right now. And I would say halfway through, I would say a little disappointed for me. I mean, the storyline's okay. If it didn't have the name Secret Invasion, I think I would be enjoying this. The fact that it has the name Secret Invasion and it is what it is halfway through, I'm a little disappointed. So
the expectation's there then, isn't it?
You
have to match that.
And even knowing that going in, it's going to be different than the comic. Like I knew not to expect the comic, but it's so much not the comic that it's just, but we'll see. I mean, it's halfway through. I would say that majority of the series that they've done, the second half gets better. Like the first half is usually building the story, building the characters, setting it up, and then it usually lands in the second half. So we'll see what happens with these last 3 episodes. It does feel like in order to get to a resolution from where they're at now is going to have to feel, it's going to be pretty rushed, I think, for these last 3 episodes, but we'll see.
Yeah. I think I saw someone say, like, there was someone complaining, like, oh, you've always wanted your gritty kind of dark Marvel series. Like, why are you complaining? And then someone just responds like, well, we want it with characters we care about. You know what I mean? Like, that's the point of it, really. That's the where the weight and the gravity comes, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it like if it wasn't a Marvel series at all, not only not Secret Invasion, but if it wasn't a Marvel series at all, and it was just a kind of a spy thriller series, I would say, okay, yeah, this is pretty decent. So I could see that. But yeah, we'll see. Like I said, I don't know, Jesse. So far, 3 episodes in.
Overall, overall, I am enjoying it. I know I put up a post being really upset about the AI of it, and excuse me, I still am, but it's something I watch with my mom, all the Marvel stuff. So it's like I'm still paying for the Disney service anyway. So like, am I really making that big of a point by not watching it? And taking away something to spend time with my mom. So that aside, I'm enjoying it. I'm gonna go on a little story here. When I was in college, I was with a group. We went out on a drama, like church presentation thing to another college. Like we were doing something with another group there, did this presentation, and afterwards it's like dinner time. We're all expecting to go eat, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna go get some pie. And I just thought the person I was talking to was from the East Coast and was referring to pizza.
Pizza, yeah.
Because, I mean, growing up here in central Pennsylvania, like, there's a lot, I'm close enough to New York City that, like, people calling it pie in that sort of regard was not an uncommon thing.
Understood.
We go to this place, and it's literally just a pie shop. Like, apple pie, whatever different. I was so disappointed. I like pie, but I wanted pizza. I wanted like a meal.
You were expecting pizza. Yeah.
So and I kind of feel with Secret Invasion, I knew the comic book is pizza, but I knew the show was going to be pie.
Yep.
I wasn't surprised by it. So, because even when they've used titles in movies and stuff before for Marvel, like they've never like necessarily, like, because Civil War does not live up to the Civil War comic. The general idea is there, and they
get a lot of the stuff in there though. They fit quite a bit.
I mean, but without having the Fantastic Four, without having Spider-Man, working with Iron Man and having his identity revealed to the public, like there's a lot of stuff. And like the underground, and it's not just like a couple of days. Like that was like
a
prolonged thing where you had Cap and the other heroes on the anti-registration side, like living in the sewers, and it was a whole like resistance movement and everything. So and I figured because they were doing it as a show, they weren't even going to get it as close as that movie did. Like they hit a lot of emotional beats that they needed to in Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we're getting there. I think it's just a movie because it's setting up so much stuff that is going to be related to Captain Marvel. I think a lot of people are disappointed in that because of the way that movie went down. I still like the movie. It's definitely dropped in my ranking for the movies, just because I like the character of Carol as Captain Marvel so much. I overhyped how much I thought I liked it when it came out. So I don't know. I'm liking that it's moving on from the silliness and the goofiness of a lot of the more recent Phase stuff, like Love and Thunder and Multiverse of Madness. So we'll see where it ends.
Yeah.
I would say if Civil War comic book was like East Coast pizza, I would say Civil War movie was like Papa John's pizza. Still pizza, but not quite the same. Not quite as good, Whereas if Secret Invasion is East Coast pizza, Secret Invasion TV show so far has been like chicken pot pie. It's like not even. It's not even. I mean, yeah, you could call both of them pie, but it's not even close. So I don't think that I was expecting the same thing, but it's not even in the same category, in my opinion. So
that's why I said, it was pie and not.
No, I get it. I'm saying I think at least the Civil War movie has enough in it that it's close to the comic book somewhat. I think this is just such a total diversion that it's I don't know.
So maybe they should just rename it that Secret Diversion.
Secret diversion, yeah. Secret, we gotcha.
Well, let's move on from a show that our guest is not watching and can't really comment on.
Yeah, he hasn't seen it yet, and he's like, "No, I don't want to."
Now I just want pizza, to be fair. So,
if you like Nick Fury, if you like Amelia Clark, if you like what's his name? I'm drawing a blank on his name. Played Talos from if you like him, there'll be enough for you to enjoy in the show.
Okay, yeah. That's enough reason for me.
Okay.
Definitely. I'm just looking forward to the X-Men whenever that eventually happens with the MCU.
Hell yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm so nervous about it, I'm more excited for the Fantastic Four just because I'm so tied into the X-Men. And I've been so disappointed by everything that's ever come out for them.
Yeah. Same. I always felt with the Fox X-Men films, they always finished in a better place and then they never picked it up. Like that thread was just left loose, and I'm like, which one was it? I can't remember which one. The ended was really nice, kind of semi, kind of comic accurate costumes, and then the film after they were just all gone. And I'm like, what happened there then? So that was for me. That kind of encompasses the Fox X-Men films.
Did they have some casting news on Fantastic Four, or was that just speculation?
Nothing official. I have not. I've seen people put out a cast list, and then like a week later, they're like, "Oh, Marvel's recasting the movie already," and it's like they never told us who they cast. You just reported too early.
Gotcha.
The announcement's coming in SDCC. Is that the consensus as well? Is that what
I heard that as well? But
what was that?
At San Diego Comic-Con that there's going to be an announcement. So
okay,
but I mean, that's I did not hear it from an official source. I just people talking. So
the grapevine.
We'll see. But they also like had the one dude come out as Blade like 3 years ago, and we don't even have a hint at when that movie might be out. So who knows? Who knows what they're doing?
And they pushed him hard in the comics then, didn't they, as well, around that time?
Yeah.
He joined the Avengers and all of it, and nothing's come of it.
No.
Strange.
Didn't they do a post-credit scene in one of the movies? Was it Eternals that they did?
Yep.
They kind of hinted at it, and then nothing. So all right.
Messed them up, I think, didn't they, with their cycle and how their release schedule.
Okay. I thought Trevor was advocating for anchovies on pizza, but he's basically shitting on Thor: Love and Thunder. So
yes.
But then Kevin does say pineapple ham and jalapenos is fire pizza. If by fire you mean you need to set it on fire because it's complete trash, then I would say that's probably right.
Look, man, you can't judge people by what they choose to eat.
Pineapple ham and jalapenos.
He's not telling you to eat it.
No, come on, man. Come on, Gwion. Come on. What do you think? Pineapple ham and jalapenos on your pizza? Yes or no?
The sweet and spicy thing, I'd probably avoid that one personally.
Yeah.
All right. I can't say I would try it on my own, but I do like a mango habanero like hot wing. So I'd be willing to try.
I had some honey chipotle wings this weekend from Hooters.
Gross.
What's gross about that?
I think I can't stand Hooters wings.
Oh, really? I love Hooters wings. Me and my wife and my kids, we love them. We just pick up the carry out though. We don't need the whole atmosphere, but we just pick up the wings and go.
I mean, I'm not making a judgment. I'm just the two times I've been there, I've not enjoyed the food.
Oh, all right. Okay.
I know of Hooters, but that's it. So I have as much knowledge of Hooters as I do the Secret Invasion series.
Do you guys have wing places there though?
Not really. No.
Really?
Even pizza places, like good pizza places, are scarce.
Yeah.
Like there's one that we have to travel about 45 minutes to get to, and that's the best one in the area, I'd say. Like there's two distinctive ones where it sounds really weird. We have like kebabi pizza, what we call it, like cheap pizza, and you know what you're getting there. And then there's decent pizza. Good kebabby pizza is quite common, but good pizza quite uncommon.
So let me ask you something. This is totally like off topic, but my sister just went to Ireland. I know that you're not in Ireland, but she said when she was over there, like she couldn't get ice anywhere. Like nobody had ice. Like, is that a common thing in Europe that you guys just don't carry ice, or you don't? Is that like if you go to a restaurant, do they serve drinks without ice?
No, they tend to. They tend to have ice. I choose
Oh,
not
yeah?
to have it normally, but yeah, most places do. But
Okay.
in supermarkets, yeah, I think it's a struggle to get much of anything right now in supermarkets.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so
Gotcha.
ice, it's not uncommon, but yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
that's what she gets for going to Ireland and not Iceland.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they would have tons of ice.
Actually, no,
But
they
they're
wouldn't. That
named
would be
after it.
Greenland.
Okay.
Yeah,
Bait and
Iceland is
switch.
green, Greenland is icy, isn't it? So I've been to Iceland, and
At least that's what they told us in school.
But
Yeah, I think they named them wrong.
yeah,
Yeah, the story I was told in school is that it was named wrong so that people would go to Greenland instead of Iceland.
Mm,
And yeah,
damn Vikings.
If you haven't been to Iceland, I'd highly recommend it.
Yeah?
Absolutely
I have
incredible.
just passing through the Reykjavik airport. I do hope to go someday and spend some time in the country.
Yeah, definitely worth it. An incredible bakery there. Don't think they had pizza, but yeah, good place to go. Right in the middle of Reykjavik. But
What was it they had?
there's a bakery called Braud & Co. So it's just a very, very good bakery right in the slap bang middle of Reykjavik. So if you go there for one reason and one reason only, just go for the bakery.
I'll be honest, the last two sentences that you said, I understood zero of the words.
Because the bakery in Reykjavik, the capital city of Iceland,
Okay.
and it's very, very good. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm going to listen to this back. Like, what the hell were you saying? Even I won't understand it. But
Is that?
Yeah.
I don't know. What's a bakery?
A bakery.
Like bakery.
Bakery. Yeah.
Like
Meg's
pastries
laughing here now. Like,
food. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's the rolling R's thing. So
yeah. I was hearing all the consonants, but none of the vowels. So that was.
Yeah. So
I was getting ready to buy a vowel for $250.
I'll trade you one of my all-ins for a couple of vowels.
Yeah, there you go.
Deal. But, no, yeah, it's highly recommended place. So
okay,
yeah,
beautiful.
Yeah. We went last year.
Oh,
so I mean, if someone were to come to Wales and visit, what would be the sites that you would recommend them seeing? What are some places that they would want to go to?
So you've got the mountain range of Eryri, so Snowdonia, but officially they've changed the name now to Eryri. So that is somewhere that I hold very, very, very highly. So that's number one. Like I said, you've got more castles here per square mile than anywhere else in the world. So choose your pick. You can throw a rock and you'll probably hit one somewhere. So yeah, for history and culture, definitely go there. And then there's a National History Museum down in South Wales, just north of Cardiff. That's a really good one to go to as well. Cardiff's a nice city. And then you've got some smaller cities, which are basically just big towns. One is St. David's, there's a massive cathedral there. And then there's St. Asaph Ganelwy, where I was born, and that was recently made a city. And then another one that some of the viewers might appreciate is Wrexham, the football club there. So that's half an hour away from where I live. Okay. So, yeah, you can go visit the city there, go see the stadium. Yeah, lots of things to do. So I'm not really selling it very well.
No, you're fine.
Kebabby pizzas as well. So
nice.
Yeah.
Now, I know here they have what do they call that, Jesse? With not reenactments, but where they have people sword fighting and you know what I'm talking about? Like the Renaissance fairs. Do they have stuff like that there, or is that
not really?
I don't know if that's an American thing or if that's something that you guys
It's
do as
something
well.
that's catching on here more and more and more. So you do have reenactors that kind of relive battles in the places that they were fought.
Yeah.
So, Meg's parents live in Conwy, which is a medieval walled town. So they would live within the walls. So they have some reenactments there. They have like a pirates festival every year. So they have a pirate ship that comes into the quay there, and they shoot some cannons and stuff. And then you hear some cannons go off by the castle, and that the whole town is completely just full of people dressed like pirates. I think
That's
this year
awesome.
they drank the entire town dry. There's a bank holiday weekend, and obviously a bank holiday weekend, you normally make a lot of money as pubs, and they were dry by the Monday. So some of the pubs let's try and get more beer in for the Monday, so they could have that more people buying stuff. But yeah, that's one that's been successful. They've had a medieval reenactment day there as well, so the whole town is just kind of incorporated into this festival. Okay. But it doesn't appeal to people in the same way for some reason. I don't really know why, but it seems to be in historical locations. So the people that look after the castles here, you've got two kind of organizations. One's the National Trust, and then another one is Cadw, which is keep in Welsh. And then you have reenactments there on the sites themselves. So they're quite like their family things. So they'll have camps set up there where you can see how people used to cook and just live. And if they were on campaign and stuff, as they were when they are during wartime and stuff, they'd show you how things were done, really. So yeah, they're quite fun, but they're not very common, unfortunately.
Gotcha. I would think that would be like a big tourist attraction type of thing, but that's still cool. I like the idea of drinking the town dry. It must be a fun weekend.
I feel like maybe like Ren fairs over there would be like, I know there's no real analog to it, but like people doing like Civil War fairs where it's just like this playful, fun atmosphere and like completely missing the point of what it really was.
Yeah. You've got the duality. You've got some people like that have don't really appreciate it. Then you've got others and history's so divisive anyway. So you've got people coming there from different perspectives, and that doesn't always lend itself to civil reenactments, if that makes sense.
Well, especially when you're that drunk. So
yeah.
Now, a little bit of Welsh history. I'm not by any means saying I know a lot because I've read a couple of books that have been set in Wales, and I've looked up some things after reading them. Wales was one of the last parts of the British Isles to ever like fall to outside forces, correct? Is that correct?
So technically, this is politics now, essentially. You could say Wales was England's first colony, essentially, in a lot of ways. Invaded, where Scotland and England united in political union, because they shared the same king. So that's, we were quite well known for rebellions and fighting back. That's why all the castles were built, really, to keep the Welsh down, especially up here in the north, where you've got this iron ring of castles that's still quite well preserved, that were purposefully built to ensure that rebellions didn't happen, but they continued to anyway, and we normally just took the castles back. So so the Tudors, as you probably know them as well, their ancestors during a rebellion by a prince called Owain Glyndŵr on a Sunday, I think it was around Easter, a handful of men took the entire castle on a Sunday, pretending to be carpenters, and just walked into the castle, killed a few guards, and held it for a few weeks. And then one of them was given a pardon, and he then, I think, had a child that married, and then the Tudors were born. So,
Okay. And Welsh, being Wales or Welsh, is that I can't remember, that has a different meaning, right? Like isn't that what people outside of Wales call Welsh people, and Welsh people have a different name for themselves, right?
So Welsh is an old English term for foreigner, a stranger, essentially.
Okay.
So Cymru, so the Welsh word for Wales means like the country of friends, of fellowship, essentially. So so that's the difference, really. So I personally prefer to say Cymru. That's obviously Welsh being my first language. that's what I am inclined to say. But I try and kind of give the context there as well, you know. So obviously, it's very difficult to change people's wording and stuff, and you're not going to change that overnight.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I love a good fellowship.
See, there were 2 book series I read. One was a semi like historical fiction take on King Arthur, and both book series were written by the same guy, Stephen Lawhead, where it's the first book is Taliesin, and then Merlin, and then Arthur, and then 2 books. It was like Pendragon and Grail, and the can we like play into that somehow?
Yeah.
And then the other one was a retelling of Robin Hood, set in Wales, where he was what was it? Is rebrand, so it was like King Bran.
Yeah.
And like he's in like this forest, and he's trying to, I think they're trying to fight off the Normans.
Okay. Yeah.
Or the
Saxons.
I can't remember who it was. The French. And it just so it was just really interesting, like, because he gets set up, and then he's supposed to get killed in this battle, and he survives, and this lady in the woods takes care of him, and he starts bringing people in, and they use like the haunted thing. And at the end of the series, it's like Will Scarlet's descendant, or Will Scarlet himself, is retelling the story, and he's adjusting it to Sherwood and Sheriff of Nottingham for the location he's in.
That's cool.
They're both really cool. So it was cool to be able to find out some of those things and see, like, oh, there is some actual history worked into these things that was really educational and interesting.
I think we suffer a lot. Not many people know our history isn't really taught that much. It's changing now. The curriculum's changing, where it's being taught more in schools and it's being applied more locally, which is fantastic. But I think even our legends and folklore are quite scarcely known as well. So it's a shame, because like you can really tie it literally into the landscape. You can go places and the stories are there because the place names are there. So it all flows in perfectly. And it's like Taliesin that you mentioned before. So Taliesin was a bard that traveled around royal courts telling stories and stuff. But his origin in the Mabinogi, which is like these series of stories, Taliesin was born from a witch that ate her servant, and her servant was called Gwion. So it's a story there about how Gwion basically drank a portion of her potion or something, and then he could transform into certain things, and he was trying to escape, and eventually he turned into a grain, and she turned into a chicken or something, and she ate him as a grain, and then became pregnant with Taliesin. So yeah.
And is that what your parents were thinking of when they?
Yeah, that's what they were going for. Yeah. My mother devoured my father as a grain.
So in that series, it starts off, because each book the writer like shifts the perspective of who's telling the story. So the first one, I forget who is telling the story, but you're following Taliesin, and he eventually becomes I think in that book he becomes, I think, the father of Merlin.
Okay.
And but he wasn't Merlin. It was like Medwin or something to that effect.
Yeah.
It was and then the people of Atlantis, like their island is destroyed, and some of them land on the shores of Britain.
Yeah.
And he becomes King Avlok, Care Avlok, and and that becomes Avalon and the Lady in the Lake.
Yeah.
Because they were taller, they had different, they looked different than the other people. So and that's where it was really cool seeing the way that story played. Again, tying in some historical stuff, because with the Arthur one, it was the first time I read the story where he's coming like as the Romans are leaving. So a lot of the army. So when that Clive Owen Arthur movie was coming out, I was kind of excited, because I was like, oh, they're tying into the Roman stuff, and I still like that movie, but it didn't live up to what I enjoyed about that book series.
because they've highlighted that kind of post-Roman Britain thing in the Vinland Saga. I don't know if you've heard of the manga and the anime and stuff that's just finished recently, and they kind of tie that into it, kind of in a way with a certain character. So that's quite nice, really, of this kind of mythology of Arthur and stuff, and a lot of the Welsh royal families could trace their genealogies and stuff. So they always tried to trace it back to the Romans, really, to give themselves legitimacy. So historical context, anyway. So
interesting.
But that's that resonated in a song that's quite popular with the World Cup last year called Yma o Hyd, Here Forever. And they mentioned Maximus. He was Magnus Maximus, the Roman emperor, and how a lot of Welsh princes claim descendants from him, really. So that was a form of legitimacy.
Yeah, interesting.
Very cool.
Did either of you watch the series Merlin?
A lot. No, I didn't to completion, but a lot of it, yeah.
Yeah. You didn't see it, Jesse?
I did not. I missed it.
I thought, in my opinion, that was the best kind of telling of that story than from what I've seen in the movies and stuff. I just felt like they really, I mean, obviously in a series you have more time to do that stuff to develop the characters, but I thought that was a really good series. It did feel like they kind of dragged on some of that a little bit. It was almost like Smallville, like where you were always waiting for him to put on the suit and fly away, be Superman. And it just like, you never kind of got to that point. But the how they developed those characters, I thought they did a really good job. So I think that's a good one worth watching. Yeah, I don't know, Gwion, what was your take on that series?
I enjoyed it. I was really quite young watching it, but I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think it was a nice kind of telling a different perspective to the whole mythos, really. It's really good.
All right, here's a hot take. I know most people cannot stand this movie. The Guy Ritchie King Arthur.
Nah. When I saw David Beckham, I just kind of lost interest, to be honest.
that moment kind of threw me out. But
I actually enjoyed it a bit. I mean, I like a lot of Guy Ritchie stuff, but I don't know. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be, but I enjoy it. I can sit down and watch it. It doesn't like irritate me or anything. So
I really liked it. I mean, it's definitely a huge departure from everything, but I think I liked him being like, I like kind of the street kid angle of him as opposed to, the typical, like just the runty squire, wart and everything. And, that, like, I like that they did something different and how he built up his appreciation for the lower people because he grew up in that brothel, like with the women there and everything. I just thought that was, and how he used that, like, again, I know
he had the typical street smarts that, you think, like, that was cool. Yeah.
And like how he then learned, like applied that to his man. Like it was really different. And I know it's very non-traditional take, but I really liked
hot take.
I really like that version.
We need like a flaming icon or something on both this and OffWorld. Anytime that we say that we have a hot take, we need to just have it like flash on the screen, hot take.
Need a siren or something.
Yeah. Well, you have anything else coming up, whether it's projects you got working on or anything?
No, I don't think so. Yeah. Oh, actually, there was one, and it's not what they will be for sale, not through me directly, but as part of, we're getting married in January, so I'm working with prop masters to create 3 heads for my groomsmen and best man as dwarves. So to be their wedding favors. So I'll present them kind of custom made characters of them. So they're 2 out of 3 done so far. So they're looking really good. So got some pictures of them. And
cake topper of you 2 as full Mythic Legions customs.
I haven't got that far. Maybe. So, that's my next one.
Those will be for sale.
Yeah, they will be.
That's cool.
So, yeah, there's one I'm quite fond of the name. Really, again, plugging a bit of Welsh here. The word for idiot in Welsh is twmfat. So my friend is called Tom. So I've named his character Tomfat. So just kind of idiot and his name together. Yeah, I just thought that was a nice little dig.
Nice.
Yeah, Groom's dwarves. So yeah, I think the next part is trying to get the cuts out for the. I'm going to customize some bios for them as well. So that's the idea. So I'll probably ask someone in the Cabal if they know how to do that. So yeah,
beautiful.
Yeah, very cool.
All right. Well, we appreciate you staying on. I know it's now 4 a.m. or whatever with you, and appreciate you sticking around with us and not falling asleep. So
I don't know how I managed it, but thank you very much.
Yeah, it's been nice. We're gonna go ahead and close out the show. So we're gonna put you backstage, but if you can hang out, great. We'll be with you in just a second. If you got to go, we understand that, and we'll close out the show and go from there.
Fantastic. Cheers, guys.
Thanks
Thank you.
Man.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
That was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can't wait to buy one of his customs.
Yes. Yeah, so folks, make sure if you are not already following Gwion, check out Honed Axe on Instagram, honed_axe. Go check him out, follow him there. He's in the Cabal doing all sorts of his dwarvish goodness. And
you'll hear us talk about him more because as he posts more fire customs, I'm sure he's going to hit shelf selections quite a bit often because I love his shit.
Because I think he had a Thistlethorn one with some folks a couple weeks ago that I picked. So yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for being here. Make sure you tune in next week. We got
guest. Another guest next week.
We do. We do tend to have a new guest each week.
Gotcha.
Next week we will have the one and only Robert Cookie Cook joining us here on the shelf.
What day is that next week? That's the 16th.
I'm not playing into that.
I'm pretty sure that's his birthday. I'm pretty sure we got Cookie on his birthday. So very nice.
Either way, he's going to be here talking with us next week on the shelf. So make sure you come back next Sunday night or whenever you get to watch the replay. But if you come on Sunday night, you get to join in the chat with all of our friends out here, which thank you all for being here once again every week. We do enjoy it.
Would it be love having you if I got one of those big cookie cakes next week that said happy birthday cookie on it and just showed it on the screen?
I don't know. I mean, what's good buying food for someone when they can't enjoy it?
I mean, you can see it. Appreciate the gesture.
This is why I 100% do not watch food shows on TV. It's like, if I can't eat it, I don't want to have anything to do with it.
Meanwhile, you talked about pizza for half this episode. So
that was an analogy. That's not the same thing.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. But anyway.
See you guys later. And as always, what's on your shelf? Where's the outro?